Hello, this is Dr. Jacqueline with DTP-Leadership Group. You've tuned in to Hot Topic Bold Talk, the podcast where we dive into everything that matters today. Join me as we explore the hottest trends and pressing issues with conversations that sizzle and perspectives that heat up. This is Hot Topic Bold Talk, since every chat has something cooking. Let's dive in to today's discussion. Hello, this is Dr. Jacqueline with DTP Leadership Group, and this is Hot Topic Bold Talk. Now, my topic is a study of contradictions about Trump and MAGA Republicans. So I think you'll really see the truth about him when you hear about many of the things that I've discovered about him and the contradictions. And it's more than lies. It is serious contradictions. Let me introduce it by this way. When a person is constantly contradicting themselves on important topics, such as abortion, immigration, or being a populist, then all of us need to look deeper into what is going on and the reality of who this person really is. This kind of person does not have a formulation of thoughts or values that are the foundation for them to live by. It seems they say that the opposite of something, and then they expect us to not see the contradiction. The individuals can also be violent in their speech, in actions, and disdainment for others. Individuals like this have no internal management of themselves or their actions. They have no conscience, and nothing is too dramatic to do if it will get them what they want. Realize that this person also has no respect for the law and will think of every way in the world to disobey the law and defy it. Most honorable people, which I know you all are, would never think, speak, or act like the individual I'm describing. A person of integrity and honesty cannot go to the extremes with comments and live with the lies and the deception that is the kind of person I'm talking about. Honest people pride themselves in telling the truth, being kind and considerate to other people, and they would not be able to contradict what they believe, since their value structure is the foundation of the way they live and make their decisions. They have a firm foundation in reality and would never want to demean or harm another human being. They could never imagine deceiving themselves so much that they could justify supporting the destruction of our country's democracy. Sadly, people who support the person who lies and contradicts themselves do not want to see these behaviors that show the destruction that a person like this will bring to all of us. If they are desperate to maintain their belief of who this person is, they will deny and build a false image about this individual. Listen carefully to what I have to say in this podcast, since I think you're going to see that there's great information here for you to take to friends or even family who are turning a blind eye to this kind of person. Now, let's look at the contradictions. I'm a populist, is what Trump has said. The Week magazine, May 24, 2024, in the article, Trump Big Oil Shakedown, written by David Graham, provides a description that gives anyone a chance to see the disturbing behaviors of Trump. If Trump has any saving grace, said David Graham, it's making explicit what was once veiled in implication or euphemisms. Politicians have long exchanged favors for wealthy donors, campaign contributions, but Trump took the shakedown to a blatant new level at a recent Mar-a-Lago meeting with 24 top oil executives. He told them that if they wanted to undo President Biden's environmental policies and green energy incentives and get free reign to drill wherever they want, they should collectively give him $1 billion in campaign contributions. This explicit quid pro quo, which reportedly stunned the oil executives with its brazenness, is entirely legal and absolutely corrupt, as Graham says. It's a reminder of the phoniness of Trump's claim to be a populist, willing to speak about how special interests and corporations conspire with politicians to screw over ordinary Americans. As both a candidate and as a president, Trump has been entirely transactional, willing to trade off policy, favors, money, contributions, or votes. Voters might not care about some of the other scandals, but they have shown repeatedly that they don't like corruption very much. This time, by being too direct about what he's offering, Trump may have gone too far. In the Forbes daily newsletter they have on Tuesday, March 21st, 2024 at 7 a.m., this was written in their money and politics section. Former President Donald Trump's business relied on more temporary foreign workers in 2023 than in any other recent years. According to an analysis of the records from the Department of Labor that date back to 2008, despite Trump's hardline stance on immigration, Mar-a-Lago, 2 golf courses, and Trump Winery in Virginia sought to hire a combined 170 foreign workers last year, the records show. This is a serious contradiction and a lie that he's been telling all along. Let's now look at his followers and how they lied to themselves about who Trump really is. The Atlantic by Tom Nichols in the newsletter, theatlantic.com on Monday, May 20th, 2024, 6:05 p.m., begins the article with, "For years, leading Republicans have chosen to let their memory lapse about things they once said about Donald Trump. It's a disingenuous forgetting that has deepened since Trump went on trial in New York. Republicans who once claimed to be against Donald Trump and ridiculed him are now expending tremendous political energy to convince their constituents and the rest of America public that they have always been faithful to Trump." I encourage you to read this article, since you will hear all the things Senator Lindsey Graham and J.D. Vance and others have said in the past about Trump that are very clearly disappointed in him, yet now they are attempting to join what they call the Trump movement. Now, I want to remind you that I will be giving you the references in the description of this podcast. Tom Nichols represents with a man that I think has a conscience and speaks the truth. He says, "I'm an adult and I've worked for politicians for many years. I know hypocrisy is endemic to politics. I know that liberals and conservatives both have made excuses for their preferred candidates, and people are allowed to change their minds when facts change. but nothing about Trump has changed. The GOP embrace of Trump's nihilism is not some standard issue. My guy, right or wrong, defense of the party leaders. What Republicans are doing now is a deeper and more stomach-churning abandonment of dignity, a rejection of moral agency in the name of ambition. The fear is obvious. Republicans are afraid of their own voters, sometimes with a direct concern for their personal security. Investing in contradictions leads people to support things they do not like or believe in because they're invested in their fear. Nichols uses another phrase, which I think is very important. The cognitive dissonance produced by the self-knowing resentment of having to change their position encourages extremism, not moderation. The shame of signing on with Trump again means that any memento of an earlier political life must be shoved into the memory hole. The only way to prove loyalty is to take the new line and to repeat Big Brother's new order for the day more energetically than all of the other comrades. Each time they will shout louder to raise the din of the mob and to silence the fading voices of conscience that tell them that this self-abasement is terrible, inexcusably wrong. Now, another person with conscience is Judge Juan Merchan, and how he's honoring the law in the this is described in the article in Time magazine, May 13, 2024, in the brief opener by Julia Zorthran. I will not tolerate any juror being intimidated, said Juan Merchan, New York Supreme Court judge. I think this article about Judge Merchan shows how he managed his trials. He is the judge that oversaw the case that found the Trump organization guilty of criminal tax fraud, resulting in $435 million judgment and jail time for Trump's chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, who pled guilty to perjury. That experience made Merchan familiar with the players in Trump's orbit. Many of them, like Eric Trump and Don Jr., could come up, and they have in the hush money case. And with Trump's well-worn tactics, he is very familiar with his need to deny, deflect, and delay legal proceedings. That's not what's happening in his court. Merchan is keeping the case moving while protecting the process from being tainted by Trump's antics. As Trump's lawyer tried to defend some of the former president's post, Merchan didn't mince words. You're losing all credibility, he told the lawyer. Disrespect for the law and legal process is what Trump does. The article ends with Merchan's gang order doesn't block Trump from him criticizing him or Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. That same day, Trump put on Truth Social that the trial is a personal hit job by a conflicted and corrupt judge. One thing is clear for Trump, it's personal. This is another example of Trump refusing to see reality. In previous podcasts, I've provided different statements from both conservative and Republicans. And what I want to do is summarize some of them in the week on May 17, 2024, has made these comments in the article Trump 2.0, a preview of what to expect. Trump vowed to launch the largest domestic deportation operation in American history deploying the military or the National Guard to round up 11 million immigrants. Remember the facts about foreign workers he's hired in 2023. He says he will absolutely consider pardoning January 6 defendants and would fire federal prosecutors who refused his order to investigate specific enemies of Trump. Matt Lewis in the Daily Beast says the scariest answer he's ever received from Trump is when he was talking to him and he said he would govern like a dictator. Now, people forget that Trump caused hundreds of thousands of needless COVID deaths by downplaying the virus as a little flu. And his rhetoric incited a violent mob to attack the U.S. Capitol. Our minds are not equipped to embrace how fast democracy could be disengaged by him. In conclusion, Trump is the person I described at the beginning of this podcast. He constantly contradicts himself when he speaks. Trump does not have a foundation of thought or values that he lives by. He supports and is violent in his speech, actions, and disdainment of others when he'll get him votes. He has no internal management of himself or his actions. He has no conscience, and the drama he creates is purposeful to get what he wants. He has no respect for the law and continues to find every way possible to defy the law. What kind of person are you? If you're honorable, honest, have integrity, and are real, and want to live in truth, there is no way you can support Trump. Are you a person that will stand with our democracy and choose the president who represents the opposite of Trump? The choice is easy. Since President Joe Biden is an honorable man who leads our nation with clarity, he has a foundation of values he lives by, and he cares about the people of the United States. He knows what it means to respect and honor the law of our nation. Thank you for listening to this podcast. There you have it. Another episode of Hot Topic Bold Talk is in the books. We journey through today's discussion, uncovering diverse perspectives and shedding light on a very critical matter. A massive thanks to all of you that are my listeners. I really appreciate you, and I'm so glad you're a part of this adventure. Feel free to drop your views in the polls and the Q&A section. It's really important for me to hear from you and know how you feel or what you think about my podcast. Gear up for more intriguing discussions in our next episode. Until then, stay connected, stay engaged, and let's keep those conversations buzzing. Thank you.